suit today. I'm feeling fresh.
Looking like ghosts. Right, building. Looking like James St. Patrick. You better get out of here.
It's the Blueprint Live. It's like I have an alter ego. So my real name is Derek, but for the podcast I use Sonny Boy.
It's the humble snob, Miss Walker. Hello again.
And lately we've been talking about relationships, but we cover a lot here, and this is something that we've been working on for a while. It's an important show, and we have some dope people in the building with us.
We do.
Right? I don't want to introduce them. I want them to introduce themselves, because I could do like a drum roll. The consultant, the ladies first.
Okay. Hi everybody, I'm Tamika. Should I say what I do and all of that stuff? Are you guys interested in that?
Kind of. I mean, we don't want to put companies out there.
No,
yeah.
No, we're not doing that.
We don't put companies out there. But, corporate America popping.
Yeah. Well, right now I'm actually focusing on startups, so I don't even have to name anybody, which is good. I am pretty much a marketing and business development professional. I've been doing it for the past almost 7 years at this point. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's just a little bit about me, but I'm definitely excited about this talk.
Long time. 6 years.
Yeah.
I'm Damon. I'm a software engineer and also a consultant.
I went to high school with Damon.
Yeah.
We came a long way.
We made it in America.
We was some hot messes back in high school.
Yeah.
Can't argue that.
It's something that I'm always proud of for us, because statistically and just how we were brought up, like, we're not supposed to be in these positions. We're not supposed to be where we are. So every time I think about this topic, it really, like, I get emotional about it, because we did it. Like, we did something that we weren't supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like, defied odds. But to open it up, I guess we go around the room. Do you feel like you have something to prove in corporate America?
I do, but I think I have something to prove to myself. I think a lot of us, just to kind of open up the conversation, I think a lot of us feel like we have something to prove because we're not well represented. So we feel as though we represent the entire race of people. With every room that you walk into, and we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, I think, to uphold whatever standards that we think we should be held to by other people. And so for me, I definitely succumb to that pressure. But for me, it's something to prove to myself. The fact that you can be a young person, you can be a woman, you can be a black person, you can be an immigrant in my case, and still somehow make it to the same level as a white man born in America. It's like it's something I prove to myself.
What about you, Damon?
I agree. But I also feel like...
Just come a little closer to the mic.
I also feel like for the most part, it's not just corporate America, but it's something to prove, period. Like, our whole lives, we've been proving things.
That's true.
Like, from the time we were in school, we got to prove that we can make it to the next grade. We got to prove we can graduate. And we got to prove, we can do something else. So it's not only proven to, I would say, corporate America, but as you said, to ourselves, and we've been proving things our whole life.
Right. Hell yeah, I feel like I definitely got something to prove. My ass is from the projects.
We really are.
Like, from the projects.
PC elevator projects.
Yeah. Grimy staircase.
Yeah.
Crackheads in the staircase projects.
Like, you gotta watch where you walking in the staircase, because you'll step in some dog shit.
So,
projects.
Yeah, I feel like I have something to prove, because it's like, who are you to come in this place and assert yourself and have confidence and fit in and know exactly what you're talking about? So yeah, I've walked around with a chip on my shoulder, and I've been in finance for I'm kind of telling my age, for 12 years.
It hits you, right? As soon as I said it out loud, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, so I've had this chip on my shoulder, but in a lot of ways, it's something that I've created. I feel like sometimes I have to drop it, but I do have this chip on my shoulder because statistically, I'm not represented in this industry.
Nope. None of us are.
No.
Yeah.
So
Especially women.
don't even get me
Yeah,
started.
we're not gonna.
I
That's a whole other
definitely
segment.
feel like I have something to prove
To who?
to them, because when I walk in there,
To
if
society?
it's somebody new, to society, to corporate America, to finance.
Is it more so them or more so yourself?
No, it's them, because they give me the. You ever got the? They must be lost. Look.
Yeah,
Or-
it's happened.
Or that must be the new intern. Look. You
Or,
guys
yeah.
ever got that?
I've
Early
gotten
on,
the. I've gotten the. How did you find out about this job? As if the
Yeah.
job
Yeah.
is a secret.
Or
I'm like, bro, I
the who
applied.
do you know?
Yeah, who do you
Yeah.
know? Yeah, I've
Did you
gotten a lot
share
of
it?
that.
Did you share the video?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. My
So,
bad.
and then like, then if we ever have conversations, talking about where we from and all of that, when I say I'm from Coney Island, baby, like, yeah, I'm from the hood and I'm in the same place making the same money as you. What happened?
Right.
So
I
it's
know.
like they just have these ridiculous stereotypes of us that when they see one of us in there in a suit, speaking properly, conducting ourselves properly, and actually
Mhm.
knowing our shit, they're surprised. So it's like,
Right.
yeah, I'm here to shock you. Surprise.
It's kind of, that's kind of like the chip on our shoulder.
Yeah. I know I have one.
You think you got to drop it?
You do. We should talk about that. You do have
Before
to
we go
drop
on
it.
that, you got
I mean-
to drop the chip. Do you have a chip?
Not anymore.
You sure about that?
I promise you. And I'll say why. I'll say why. Because I spent a lot of time carrying that chip on my shoulder, and I think, and this could be debated, but I think a lot of it is in our heads sometimes. And
I think so too.
Yeah, I think that if you walk into a room with those preconceived notions that these people are either not going to take me seriously, or these people are, probably assuming the worst, or they're probably shocked that I can speak proper English.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff is in your head, and it creates a lot of paranoia.
It
And
is.
we definitely come off as being very insecure whenever
Mhm.
we walk around with that
It's
chip. So you do
definitely,
have to drop it.
it's only in my head when I'm not at work. When I'm working and I'm involved and I'm in the mix, I belong. But it's just when I start putting things into perspective in moments like this
Mhm.
that I really have the chip. So I'll go in with the chip, but as soon as I walk in, the chip is gone.
And it comes back when you leave.
When I leave.
Oh.
Yeah, it's psychological.
Oh.
I can see
It,
that.
it
Like
comes
if
back
you're
when
reflecting on it. I can
yeah,
see
when
that.
I'm around my peers or things like that, certain moments, and I'm like, you know what? Like I'm doing my thing. I get
Yeah.
that kind of mentality to where I have to work extra hard to prove myself.
Yeah.
I get it.
Even the corporate voice, You have a corporate voice.
We all have corporate voices. We all got corporate
to some extent,
personality.
yeah, I think to some extent everybody does. But even they, as we say, even they do too. They don't necessarily
do.
speak the same way or
Yeah.
carry themselves the exact same way in and out of the building. So I think it's everybody.
I feel like once in a while they will slip up and show them, and they'll show their out of work
Yeah.
personality
Yeah.
at work. But I feel like we don't do that.
No.
No, not as comfortably.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny that they are more comfortable to just slip up and be themselves, and we don't. Not saying we don't, but not as, like you said, not as comfortable as they do.
I think it's just.
I'm gonna keep doing
I
they.
think it's just, I think,
Yeah.
I think it's just not having peers because
It's just- yeah.
it's just not having peers.
It's the comfort level.
So you said something about stereotypes. What stereotypes do you face?
That somehow I got this job out of some diversity quota that they probably had to fill.
Affirmative action.
Because God forbid, I spent a lot of time in school and I spent a lot of time working my way. God forbid, that's the truth. It must be, So there's a lot of stereotype, I think, around the how did you get this job kind of question.
Yeah.
What about you, Damon? What is a black guy doing IT for?
Why you not playing basketball?
I do get that also because I'm 6'4", so it's like I'm kind of intimidating to some
Yeah.
people, or so I've heard. So it's like I gotta kind of make myself a little less intimidating.
Mhm.
I don't know how I'm supposed to do that, but it's like
So if you were to be aggressive at work,
right,
somebody might get scared.
Yeah, for sure. So it's like he's tall and he's aggressive, so it's like yeah. So
So that's a stereotype that you face?
yeah, It's my highlight. Oh, did you play basketball? It's like, why?
Yeah.
Why I can't just
But I
walk in
mean-
here?
I couldn't play chess. Like, I can't be captain of the
I
chess
mean,
team.
but I would ask you that too. If
Why though? That's the problem.
I don't know.
He's tall.
Yeah, he's tall. He's
Everybody who sees a tall, especially a tall black guy, you automatically assume athlete.
tall. Why? Because I'm only 5'9". So if I was 6+, I would have played some ball. I stopped playing ball because I'm
You
too
hear
short.
this?
I stopped playing ball because I'm too short. But stereotypes I face. But the stereotype is true. Like, you know, I listen to rap. Yes.
We all listen to rap.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
day I was on the express
So do
bus
they.
and I saw an old, middle-aged white man in a suit listening to Jay-Z's Hard Knock Life. It was blasting in his headphones.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it as long as I live.
Hip hop is just music. It's
He was
pop
really-
music.
Yeah.
He was in it
I don't even
too.
count that.
It's
yeah.
like, am I into what's cool? But I mean, that's a good stereotype.
Yeah, they do
Yeah.
assume that you know all the things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
They know that you know all the hip stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
up on culture.
All the
Yeah,
trend
that's a
music.
good stereotype. What about y'all? Women, I feel like women stereotypes are different.
Yeah, they are, but it's like, and you could probably relate to this
Mhm.
a lot. It's the double identity. So it's am I a black person today or am I a woman today? Am I a
Or
black
am I
woman
both?
today? Like, what's going on? Like, which angle are
Mhm.
you know, Mr. Oppressor or Ms. Oppressor, are you coming at it? Is it sexism or is it racism? And, you know, so I mean, in terms of stereotypes for a black woman, I guess, like, no matter how I may say something, it may come off as being angry. I don't know how,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
there's
the
the
angry-
We can't be aggressive
the
at
angry-
work.
Oh, God, no.
The
We can't be
angry
aggressive at
black
work.
woman.
there's the angry thing, or are you
Stereotype
upset today? And it's
is
like, no,
real.
this is just my face.
That's
like,
real.
Yeah.
I just look like this all the time.
Or like if he gets frustrated on a work call and he
Yeah.
voices it, it's okay. But if I do it, they gonna start talking about my childhood. They gonna start talking about my ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
They'll start trying to bring it back.
I think
For black women, I think
For black
so.
women.
I think that's one of the reasons why, as I deal with more people and higher up in the ranks of a company, that I don't see black women. I don't see any black women. I see black men
We're sprinkled around.
sprinkled
We're very
around, but not
sprinkled
in
around.
management.
So I'll say this. I mean, that's where, again, is it the sexism? Is it the racism? Because ultimately, women as a whole have a lot of issues tapping into upper management, and a
Mhm.
lot of the diversity programs and, you know, diversity and inclusion initiatives are actually more geared towards getting women into management rather than getting black people or people of color in general. So if you happen to share identities, if you're a woman and you are a person of color, you're not really immediately considered in those kind of initiatives.
Right.
They're really, really focused on women, and the main recipients of those spots tend to be white women if a spot does open up.
What's the live stream saying?
You getting some likes.
Yeah.
They like you.
Thanks, guys.
You speaking truth. But Todd just made a good point. He said that we're only stereotyped in the areas that we dominate in. So they ask if you're a ball player because most basketball players are tall black men.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess that's somewhat. Does that justify why they look at Damon and assume why you're not playing basketball?
Well, I guess not why you. I'm sure they don't ask why you're not playing basketball. They ask, did you play basketball?
Yeah.
What do you say? Did you play basketball?
I did.
So
I don't assume. At least ask. Did you play any sports? I'd rather you just
yeah, I feel
did you
you.
play any
Yeah.
sports and then let me
Yeah.
go into the conversation. But don't assume.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
play
And
basketball?
Ike just made an interesting comment
good.
also.
Ike.
He's saying it's not just corporate America. These stereotypes permeate in all sectors of employment. And yes, that's true.
That's
and what
very
I mean
true.
by corporate America, I mean every job. Because if you think about it, everything is a corporation.
Mhm.
The government is a corporation.
Mhm.
So when I say corporate America, I mean any job you
World,
have.
yeah.
Yeah, anything in the workplace. It's not just limited to finance or something like that. Because
Right.
it's nothing but a bunch of corporations out here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right. So this is a tricky question, right?
what's up?
Because you face ethical policies and things like that. How do we help each other climb the corporate ladder?
we get there.
Yeah.
We become the VPs, we
Yeah.
become the EDs, we become the COOs.
But
It's the
then,
only way that I can think of it.
but then if you bring black people in, that could be seen as discrimination.
No.
They bring each other in all
They're
the time.
qualified for the job.
Qualified, right?
Yeah, as long as you're not, bringing, somebody who's totally unqualified, then I don't think it'll be a problem because they help their own all the time.
All right, so say for example, I'm a black manager,
Yeah.
and I have 4 slots on my team,
Mm-hmm.
and I give it to 2 black men, 1 black woman, and then whoever else.
Mm-hmm.
Can I be looked at as discriminating? Does that look fishy?
Does it
Looks
look
like
fishy
corporate
when the white man hires 3 white men and 1 white woman?
No, but we're underrepresented in the
Right.
population.
Yeah.
So does that raise red flags?
It does raise red flags. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It does. But at the same time, I think you're right. That is step one. If we're not there, we don't get to change the narrative. If
Yeah.
you're not in the room, you don't get to have a conversation. So,
Right.
that really is step one to get in the room. And I think it's not always down to the hiring level. Like, you might not fill the room with a bunch of black people off bat.
Right.
But ultimately, you're opening up opportunity for someone to look and,
Right.
even get a mentor. You're opening up opportunity to go
That's the
be
thing.
a guest teacher at a university or at a school.
Mhm.
And these kind of influencing, these sort of points of influence do matter just as much as you bringing somebody in for a job.
We don't have mentors.
You don't.
Not really.
I feel like, in certain industries we do, but I feel like in the more structured, established corporations we don't, because we're underrepresented.
We are.
And to have a mentor, that person has to be in a leadership position.
Mm-hmm. There was one time I actually felt like I don't want to use the word discrimination, but I felt like being a minority worked in my favor because I interviewed
It does have its perks.
a couple years back. I interviewed at a major investment bank, and the woman who I interviewed with happened to be a Dominican woman,
Mm-hmm.
and she was, I don't know how, we talked about basic interview stuff, talked about my work experience, my education, how it changed into growing up in the projects. This lady told me she was from Red Hook,
Yeah.
and all of that, and how her mother was on welfare, how she went through all this stuff growing up, and I was like, I'm from Coney Island, da, da. We vibed on that level, and I got the job the next day.
That's just like.
But I know that I was qualified.
That's just like.
I just happened to click with her.
That's just like 2 Caucasian people saying, "Oh yeah, me and my family vacation in Vermont
Yeah.
during the holidays."
Oh, so do we.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say this. There is an opportunity, I think, to connect with people on any level, because I think that's how you just get opportunities in general,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Like, you find one point of connection, and you'd be shocked sometimes what a black woman that was not necessarily raised in the best of means and a white man who,
Yeah.
wherever he was raised, might have in common. There are many points of connection. So I would say another opportunity for black people to rise the ranks is just by finding those points of connection.
Yeah.
And I think also we get caught up in the narrative being too black and white. There are tons of people of color
Mhm.
that do not subscribe as, they might not identify as white and they might not
Mhm.
identify as black, but
Mhm.
there are a bunch of people in the middle. There are Asians, there are people of Latin descent, and I think there are a lot of opportunities for black people to align themselves with those other marginalized groups as well. So I think we just got to
Yeah.
stop looking at everything in a tunnel
Mhm.
and kind of look at the world around you. There are
Yeah.
so many ways to relate to other people, and there are so many ways to connect.
I feel like now it's at an all-time high.
Yeah,
Like I see so many different
I would say so.
black business resource groups that have all these different network events, whether
Yeah.
it be on the weekends, after work and stuff.
Diversity
So
is
it's
definitely
definitely
all-time
ways
Mhm.
to get out there now.
What you think, Damon?
I know since I work in IT, there is a lot of minorities, I guess, in IT.
Really?
Indian,
Yeah.
Indian, Asian.
Indian, yes.
Indian, Asian. So
They run the
yeah,
IT
it's
game.
like
Yeah.
a lot.
Without
a
them,
lot, for sure.
there is no
Yeah.
corporation.
Right, sure.
Yeah.
So I know that I may see it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
So I know like the SVPs and the VPs, a lot of times they are white, but the developers, from junior all the way to senior developers, are usually Asian,
Mhm.
Indian.
I work with a lot of Indians
Yeah.
at my
Mhm.
particular office. A lot of them are Indian,
Yeah.
all over the place.
It's just as a people, I don't know if it was a collective thought, but they just saw an opportunity and they took advantage of it.
Yeah.
I don't think black people, and even when I say black people in this particular instance, I'm also talking about Hispanic people. We don't take advantage of a lot of opportunities that are presented to us in corporate America.
You think so?
You know, I totally think so. I don't think we take advantage of the opportunities.
I mean, I would say I don't think, and this is just another thought, but I don't think we often know the different sectors as well. Because, you know, like I've talked to college kids, for example, and of course they want to know about what you do and all of that stuff, but ultimately I've been on panels where it's like a bunch of black women, black people in general, and the ones that people would flock to and come up to are the people that are working in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Me coming from, you know, the finance world, me coming from the technology world and all that stuff, I didn't have a bunch of black people running up to me like asking me questions.
Exactly.
I think they're just not as attracted to certain industries, and that might be why it might seem like they're not taking advantage, but they're just not as exposed to different sectors.
That's a better way to put it. We don't necessarily have an interest and we're not exposed to it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we wouldn't take advantage of it if we don't know anything about it.
Or if you just don't see enough, you know, because they'll look at me as the anomaly, like, okay, well, you're just the one black girl in the room. Like, they don't think
you're the exception.
Yeah, you're the exception.
You're the rare case.
Yeah.
You're the isolated incident.
Yep.
Do you ever, how many times do you find yourself, I don't want to go too far off the agenda, but how many times do you find yourself in a situation where you're the only black person,
all the time.
and you could have binoculars and look around, you won't see a black person for miles?
It's
Not as much as before.
Mm-hmm.
Now I might see a sprinkle.
There's a black guy on my floor.
Oh.
There's a black guy on my floor.
So
We made it.
So do you give them the brother nod?
Oh yeah,
Yes,
for sure.
of course
Was
you
that
do.
it? Yeah.
We talked. He introduced himself to me a couple of weeks ago.
Mhm.
Talk. But other than that, like I said, it's just.
Do you give them the brother test? Like, talk to him.
You talk
like,
black to him.
Yeah. Do you talk black to him and give him the test?
He actually gave me the test. He
He gave you the test?
He saw some other dude in the building. He was
Test.
like, he said, "Oh yeah, I saw you had waves, so you know what's up." I was like,
What?
I was like, all right.
We found one.
Right.
Yes.
man.
What's the sometimes the test fails. Have you ever had the test fail?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
You
It's
say-
just
when you
people's
say what's up,
backgrounds,
it's like,
people's
yeah.
upbringing,
And
you
it's
know?
like, hey, how you
Where
doing?
you from?
I'm like, test fail. What's the female test?
When you talk about your hair.
Yeah.
If
Hair.
you can openly talk about your hair, you're a real black girl.
I had a whole conversation with a lady
shit.
on my floor about we were talking about faux locks and
Yes.
box braids. Yes.
So
That is the
that's the test.
Or like I had a call with this girl. I've never met her in person because she's in another office, but we talk a lot because we're working on the same project.
Uh-huh.
And one day we were both just stressed out about this one person, and then she called me, and all she said was, "Girl." Right then I knew.
Right then, there, you know.
That was when I knew. As soon as she said,
Yep.
"Girl."
For the live stream, is that test universal? Like, is that in every single industry?
Yeah,
where
like
you
do
gotta test
other black people in the workplace do that to be like?
the test?
Yeah, like what is it like? What do you? I don't even know what you're testing.
I don't know. It's,
But it
it's
is a
like
test.
realness, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Something you can feel.
Yeah.
It's just like.
Yeah.
Is it like a connection that you're looking for to make you feel
I
like
think
you're
it
not
is
out here by
universal.
Yeah,
yourself?
I'm not on the
the
island.
beauty, I will say the beauty of being a black person in corporate America is like, there are so many types of black. There are black people from Africa, there are black people from the West Indies,
Mhm.
there are black people from Europe, and there are black people from the United States. And for some odd reason, we all have certain points of connection, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say the test is really just that, you know, like how quickly can we connect? Because
Yeah.
I think it's also like a survival mechanism, you know?
It
Like
is,
if we were
it is.
drowning,
You
you
just-
gotta see
you gotta
eye to
find
eye.
somebody.
You gotta
Like
find
you have
somebody
a
and hold
peer.
on to them, you know?
Someone to vent to, someone to bond with
Yeah.
in the workplace.
Yeah. What we got next?
What we got next? This is crazy.
What's up?
So the theme is corporate marketing, but I'm kind of like, it kind of takes the first three questions and are we too sensitive?
I mean,
I think
Or
we're
are
tired.
they or
This
are
is-
they too they? I hate they.
Yeah, we gotta do better than that, guys.
Yeah, they is. I'm sorry. I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry. It's my
I
fault. It's
don't
my
want to
fault.
say they.
this is gonna be good on the live stream too.
Are we?
The powers that be.
Yeah. Is the system too insensitive?
Yes.
Or are we too sensitive?
I think we're just tired. I don't think we're too sensitive. I
What you
think
tired of?
I think we're tired of saying the same thing over and over and
What?
over and
What's-
over.
What's the same thing?
Okay, so I do not want to discuss this, but obviously recent events with a certain hair brand
We can talk about that.
You know.
That's on here. I'm here for it.
I'm just saying-
Shout out to Shea Moisture.
I'm here for it.
Name drops.
You got
no,
time
well,
tonight?
seriously,
I
like,
got Miss Walker always got time. Always. Go ahead, Tamika.
I'm just saying, recent events
Uh-huh.
with a certain hair brand better known as Shea Moisture. At the end of the day, it's like you would expect there to be some level of conversation that might happen amongst people. There might be some level of testing an idea. That, I mean, I'm a marketer. I've never launched something without getting buy-in.
Yeah, you
like
gotta get some
testing an
approvals
idea,
on that.
getting some approvals. Like there's a certain level, there's a certain chain of command. There's a certain level of due diligence that happens before you go out there and you launch something that big. So
Exactly.
I think we're just tired because ultimately you see how other brands get responded to for similar incidents. You see the types of things that people lash back and say.
Yeah.
Black Twitter is taking over the internet. So
It is.
at the end of
Black
the day,
Twitter is Twitter.
yeah. And at the end of the day, you should know better. So I don't think we're too sensitive. I think we're just tired. Like how repetitive, how many times you have to say the same thing before it clicks and before you implement that into your next practice.
What you got, Damon? You think we overreacting to things?
No.
No?
No. I feel like, kind of to piggyback off what you said, there's a lot of...
Piggyback. That's a workplace term.
Oh God.
You gonna circle back and follow up too?
Circle back. But yeah, I
Touch
definitely-
base.
that's the one I hate the most.
Touch base
Touch
tomorrow.
base.
EOD.
EOD.
I do feel like
Oh.
a lot of people are insensitive, but that's also because we are underrepresented in certain areas. But then I also feel like our reaction is based off of their action.
But you don't
So-
think we overreact to things?
No.
As a whole, no, there may be some
As a
isolated,
whole, no.
No, there
some
are-
isolated instances
yeah.
where it's like, okay,
Okay.
that could be seen as overreacting.
Yeah.
But as a whole, no, because the reason we are quote unquote overreacting is because of the action. You know,
Yeah.
so
Alright, so you got the floor. Did we overreact to Shea Moisture?
I didn't really know what was going on until
Yeah, I
My
had.
man
until
didn't
she
even.
told
Didn't you?
me.
Yeah,
I gotta-
out of sight, out of mind.
I gotta fill him in about what's
Right.
going
So,
on the internet.
She sent me a
Yeah.
commercial. But yeah, I definitely I wouldn't have done that, especially a product targeting us.
Yeah.
You know, you can't do that.
Same thing with Pepsi.
But that's what I'm saying. You look at other brands and you see what they're doing. You see the
Yeah,
backlash
Apple
they
doesn't
face,
have
and
those
then you do the
problems.
same thing.
Yeah,
Come on.
like
Yeah.
my whole thing is, whenever they obviously make these commercials and come up with these ideas, you mean to tell me nobody in that room said
Exactly.
this is a bad idea?
There's no black people
But
in the
that kind of
room.
goes back to, like we said, the
Yeah.
test.
The
If that
test.
person may not pass the test, then it's
Right.
like, yeah, that's
And
fine.
that goes back to them or they being insensitive because they all watched that and they all said this is a great idea.
Yeah, but I mean, it's more so that they're out of touch
Yeah.
also. And I think if there are people of color in those positions, they're not speaking up. There's times
Do you think they're not speaking up or you think they're just not there?
then
It's both.
it's both.
It's
I've been in
both.
situations, even me personally, when I was first coming up in the industry, where I knew something was off.
Yeah.
Not even nothing related to race or anything, just a general idea. And I'm like, no, that's stupid. But I didn't speak up.
Why?
Fear of rejection, fear of being ridiculed.
Because you
being-
were black?
Because I was black. I didn't want to be the black guy.
Or new.
Or the opposition, or new,
Or the young person.
young person.
Yeah.
Right? So I think sometimes it could be that too, where we could have people in those positions, but they just don't speak up. We need people who can come into these situations and say, I don't like that idea.
But
And that goes with getting us into leadership.
right,
Like you
and-
said,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to some of these comments.
The
You-
right leaders, not yes men.
Yeah, you know the conversation is good when people are leaving paragraphs in the comments. I'm trying to keep up
Shout out
with
to
everybody.
everybody on the live stream.
Yes.
We appreciate
we
every
appreciate
single
it.
one.
Yeah,
of y'all.
so I'm Hotep Hester. Just said, if you're a marketer, it is literally your job to be in touch. And that's the
Exactly.
truth.
Exactly. That
When
is
you're
your
in marketing,
entire
Right,
job.
it's
my
your.
man said, what's my man name?
I'm
It's
Hotep.
Hotep,
That's
yeah.
Imhotep.
What's up, Imhotep?
Yeah. You know how they are.
Peace,
They
bro.
serious about this, and I definitely appreciate that comment, and I'm glad he said it. when you're in marketing, regardless of what color you are, regardless of how old you are, it is your job to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I'll say
agree.
this. I'll say this, and I'm only throwing it in there because this has been my background. But market research is very racist, and marketers know that.
In what way?
Market research is very racist. If you look up information
Because
surrounding,
you have to single out races, right?
yeah. But in addition to that, so everybody knows if you Google certain images pop up, right? If I Google black girl, I'm not going to get the most flattering of images that pop up online. And there's a reason for that. So marketers know that market research is inherently flawed and it's inherently racist.
Right.
That being said, what marketers now do is they tap into social influence, right? They go onto social media. They pull data from social media channels, and we have a lot more insight at our disposal now to make better decisions, and yet we don't. That's the problem.
I like her.
I told you she was dope.
That's true.
Very true.
If you Google, what didn't I pull up?
But
something?
isn't Google based off of hits and not based off of a developer in the background saying the first hit needs to be white woman if I Google beautiful woman?
It's some
It's
algorithm.
based, it's an algorithm.
It's like search engine.
Exactly.
It's-
It's not necessarily
Tagging,
it's not
right?
necessarily racist. It's
But it's
based
not
on-
a coincidence either that when I Google beautiful women, my first 100 images are white women. That's not just a coincidence of some computer program that was
I wanna
written.
ask the
Right.
developer.
It is
Is
a
it-
lot of hits
It-
based off of
Keywords,
you know, and
tagging.
Right.
and
I
So,
wonder why.
and here's what I think: the more we Google beautiful women and those pictures of Caucasian women come up, they're going to continue to stay at the top of the results because we're Googling and hitting those pictures.
Right.
So what should we do?
What should we do? How do you change? How do you change the results based off the hits? You got to tag the pictures differently.
I would say based off tagging. That goes into
They'd
a
also
whole,
have to get
a whole-
traffic. That's a technology
whole
question,
different
guys.
conversation.
Black pictures need to be tagged as beautiful women as opposed to black beautiful women.
I wonder
You gotta,
why they
you gotta
aren't.
take race out of the file names of the pictures.
Also because nowadays, since social media is so big, there's a lot of negativity and things that may not be as flattering that are being tagged. So
Yeah.
something like that, if you type in a black woman and we have someone who may not be the best looking, and that comes up first because, okay, that got a lot of hits because she may have done X, Y, Z.
Right.
What we got next?
Man,
We've gone all day.
we got a lot. Yeah, we could go on all day about this.
Actually-
We kind of flying through this.
Because
What's going on in the live stream? Let's hit up the live stream because we got
we
time.
got a lot of live stream comments, but one of the things I wanted to address was actually our cousin Missy brought this up earlier.
What's
on
good,
my
Missy?
post. She asked us to bring up black hairstyles in the workplace.
Yeah, how
And
did we
them
miss
being
that?
discriminated against.
Yeah, let's talk
Because you
about-
know
let's talk
there
about
was
that.
that article. I don't know if it was real or not. Remember they were saying that they banned dreadlocks
Yeah, I saw
in
that.
Yeah.
in the workplace or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that real?
That's what I
That
It's
really
subject,
happened.
yeah, it
That really
has
happened.
happened, but it's subject to the individual employer, which is crazy, but still.
And it goes back to, I guess, the whole hair hate thing in Shea Moisture. The reason why I was so upset about that is because our hair, black hair, has been shamed for years. It hasn't been praised on the market, whether it be print ads or commercials or whatever the case may be. Every woman who was labeled as beautiful had this long, straight, luxurious, and I hate that word, hair. Meanwhile, no white woman has ever been sent home from work for wearing her hair in its natural state. But I have a close friend who was. She wore her hair in a natural twist out, and her job sent her home, and she worked for a big bank.
Really?
Yes.
That's
Natural twist out in what way? Like how describe her hairstyle.
I mean, honestly,
Like,
the fact
give me
that we have to
details.
describe it is a problem.
I need a visual. I need a visual.
You ever seen a twist out?
Yeah, but
That's how she had her hair.
get out of here. Just a straight up twist out.
Yes, and they sent her home.
That's
This was
crazy.
a while back, but and then I recently had faux locks in my hair. I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous when I went to work that first day.
I was nervous for you.
Like I
Because
didn't know
you had the one blonde
Yeah, I had some blonde ones.
Yeah.
I was doing it for the culture, and you
Yeah.
couldn't tell me nothing as far as having certain hairstyles. Do people touch your hair? Do people ask you
It's
about your
happened to
hair?
me a lot. I don't know. I think I just have that face where people are like, "Oh, I can just do whatever I want."
Yeah, it's like
You know,
let me just touch your hair. You know, like
But that's a personal thing.
don't touch my hair.
No.
Don't talk to me
Yeah.
about my hair.
No.
If you like it, just say it looks nice and that's it.
I don't talk to you about yours. That's my life.
Exactly. I don't talk to you about your hair.
So don't talk
Don't
to
talk
them.
to me about mine.
I do ask about hair. I do.
Why?
I'm being facetious. I do it because I want to. Like I wanna just.
Don't ask me about my hair.
Don't ask at all, like nothing?
No.
No?
Why not?
Just say it looks nice and that's it.
That's it? So you can't like get into details?
Why?
Maybe someone's interested.
One thing I could say
Nah.
is that my level of sarcasm, like my sarcasm skills, have gone through
They've
the roof.
sharpened. I'm telling you.
I'm
It's my official
I'm a
second language.
I'm a samurai
Oh,
with
yeah.
sarcasm, and I use it as not only a defense mechanism, but I use it as a weapon, because sometimes in the workplace, it's who's the wittiest, right, to get the upper hand in certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that sometimes people spar with me. And yeah, sarcasm. Everyone's focused on the live stream.
No, I mean, I don't really use it as much at work. I
No.
use it outside of work a lot.
I use it.
Oh no, I use it at work.
at work all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really call it. What I do is not sarcasm. What I do is just like I'm gonna let you know that I'm annoyed.
Mhm.
I'm pleasantly disrespectful at work.
Pleasantly disrespectful.
Explain, please.
Yeah.
How do you balance
Does that get you in trouble?
No, because
obviously it hasn't gotten you in trouble. You're employed.
I'm not rude, but if I feel like you aren't doing your job and you don't know shit, I'm gonna be pleasantly disrespectful.
I mean, can we talk about just really quickly being, as you described, pleasantly disrespectful, which I'm still trying to grasp, but when things happen on the news, for instance,
Yeah.
there's a certain way that your coworkers might react that leads you to respond a certain way. There's only two responses. Three. Either you can go the bitter route and just be like, you know what, screw you.
Yeah.
You can educate them, or you can ignore it completely. And I think those are opportunities where being black in corporate America really lets you shine. You know, I take it as my opportunity to educate you every single time, whether you want to hear it or not. We're going to sit down and we're going to talk about this, even if it's 2 seconds. For instance, if there's yet another police shooting, if there's a protest going on outside, there are always a lot of snarky comments that your coworkers may make because they just don't understand. Why are people protesting? So you know what
They
I'll
do
say?
that.
I'll say you should be grateful that you have no reason to hold a picket sign up and protest. You should be grateful for that.
You say
And then
that.
we'll talk about that. I have told people that.
And what was their response to that?
First of all, it's either they're dumbfounded because they just can't believe, you know, that you had something to say. And sometimes they're intrigued. They're just like, well, what do you mean? They're genuinely confused sometimes. Sometimes they just don't know. You have to understand a lot of people might have come from backgrounds where they didn't interact with people of color quite often. And now they're put into this corporate world, you know, and I'm not sympathizing with them at all.
Right.
'Cause I truly believe they should know better. But that's your opportunity to kind of be the representative, so to speak, of what it means to be black in corporate America.
There's also a lot of underhandedness that
Yeah.
goes on.
What do you
If
mean?
you're not aware or pick up on certain things, like, you know, you really won't notice it.
What do you mean?
Like, for example, I had one of the BAs.
What's a BA?
A business analyst.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Yeah, everybody know.
I guess he was new or whatever. He introduced himself to me. He's like, "Oh, junior developer," and I'm like, "No, senior, junior BA." Right?
So
I mean, and then I flipped it back on. So it's like, if I would have just let that slide, it's like, don't.
Right.
If anything, just like don't assume.
See,
Right.
they
Just
tried to
Right, just say,
undermine
okay,
you
what do
just
you add?
because
Right, exactly. So if
they
I
gave you the, oh, you must be the new
right,
junior
like an intern,
person.
right? I mean, like I'm a junior, I'm an intern. You know what I mean? So it's like if you don't know, there's a lot of underhandedness that
Right.
goes on. You know,
There's
you
a
should
lot
address
of
it.
Like
there's a lot of
microaggressions. I think
there's
that's
a lot
the
of
word.
Right.
passive aggressiveness
Yeah.
is prevalent. There's a lot of assumptions made as well.
And Tamika, to your comment before, Missy responded to you. She said that, but it's our job to always teach. When will people take the initiative to learn?
I know.
And it's like, when will they do some reading, pick up a book?
I
Because
wish
I
I
know
could
they
tell
watch the news.
Of course.
They know what's going on.
Yeah.
They just choose to purposely tune themselves out. Oh, that don't got nothing to do with me. Turn.
Exactly. What are they protesting for now? I just want to live my life.
I wish I had the answer to that, because that is such a good point. When are they going to finally take initiative and take ownership over their opinions?
I don't want to teach.
I don't want to teach either. It gets exhausting. But at the end of the day, it's the one thing that I can do to kind of move us forward.
I don't want to teach.
No one does.
Thing you want to teach?
Depends.
You're teaching right now.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but not
if
like.
you want to learn, like if someone's willing to learn, I'm always willing
If
to teach,
somebody's
because
willing to
we can learn something from each other. So it's
Mhm.
like, as long as you keep an open mind, we can discuss experiences and things that are going on.
Yeah.
If you are closed-minded and don't want to learn, then I don't want to waste my breath.
Listen, I've sent people articles. I'm not at that point where I'm
You're
like
one of those?
afraid to be black. Like, no, I will be the black person. I don't care. If you need to know better,
I know
I'll
what
tell
you
better.
mean. You're afraid to be black.
No, I'm not that person. I will send you an article
Did the
if I
live stream
feel like
come
that
back?
would help. you
Yeah,
know?
we're getting everybody back.
All right.
slowly.
So, has anyone been at work and they felt afraid to be black,
It happens
or
all
to
the
be,
time.
or any minority racial group, or even women? Have you been afraid to be that person? I have.
It happens all the time. I was for a long time. I just stopped
It's
caring.
natural. Yeah, I stopped caring,
I
but
stopped
I'm not.
caring.
But I'm still not the black guy. You know what I mean?
I think once you get some seniority, then that kind of slowly fades
Yeah,
away.
it doesn't matter to me anymore. But I get it.
Steven said Tamika for president. Shout out to Steven.
That's
No.
what
You should run. No.
Definitely not this country. Give me a better one, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somewhere else, please. But I'm not going to say I'm afraid. I just give up on them. I don't want to teach them.
I know.
I'm tired.
You gotta lead by example.
I'm tired.
You gotta lead by example.
I'm tired.
You can't.
I don't want to do it no more.
You can't go out and profess certain things. You just gotta lead by
You're
example.
not tired?
I'm exhausted. I'm shocked I don't have gray hair. This is just what it is. But all I'm saying is I accept reality, and reality is there are going to be a ton of people that are not going to learn. There are going to be a ton of people that are not going to. They're not going to get it. But the few, the very few, if I can influence one person to move something forward, I consider my job well done. Because at the end of the day, my job is not just to get there and, make money and walk out. My job is to ensure that there's a path paved for other people. And I know for a fact from doing, talks at colleges, at high schools, a lot of black people are just not very, they're not encouraged to enter this environment because they anticipate all of these things before they even get there. So if I, if that's all I can do after however many years you give your talents to corporate America, then I consider myself successful in that regard.
Right.
You should run for president.
No.
She is one day.
I would run for, I don't know, community council. I'm not, I just can't. I cannot.
One day she is.
Mm-hmm. Can we get to the next point?
Do you feel obligated to buy black?
Now I do.
Yes.
Like, not even obligated, but I want to.
Really?
I try my best to support black as much as possible, especially now in 2017. Maybe 2 years ago, I wasn't against it, but I didn't really care as much. I just bought whatever I liked. But now I'm a lot more conscious as to where
Once
my money goes.
I know it's a black-owned business, that gives me that kind of like person like, oh, I definitely want to buy something now because it's black-owned.
Mm-hmm. But I don't think obligated is the right word.
Is that unanimous though? Like,
Yeah, I don't think it's obligated. It's more so I want to support. You have a good product. I definitely want to support you in any kind of way.
how do you think we got to this point to where? And here's the thing, right? I think it's our generation that is leading the revolution.
They are.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We're the ones who we're driving the culture. We're changing the thinking.
That entrepreneurship way of thinking.
Yeah.
Right.
Like we want to support each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bought the bevel blades. I bought the bevel clippers.
And it's a damn good product. It's not
It's
just
amazing.
because it's black owned. It's because
It's
these are
really
good.
My shape ups are fire since I did the bevel strip.
I I think a huge part of it is the future is in small business.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at Fortune 500 companies, only 15 of the Fortune 500 companies, like historically, have been run by a black person, and that is a
black
real stat.
owned or black run?
Black run.
Yeah,
so I
not
think
even owned.
no,
Not even black owned.
no.
Owned.
15 out of the 500 historically have been black run. So that being said, I think our generation is more likely to support like small business and things like that. And if it happens to be black owned, that's just a further incentive.
You mean black CEO?
Mm-hmm. Black CEOs.
Dang.
So what would be the numbers on, I guess, founders or creators?
I don't even know. That would be a good stat to look up, actually. Yeah. I don't even know.
So, with that note, and back to what we were saying before, well, to piggyback off what we were saying before, since everybody's just talking about all the adversities that they suffer just being black in the workplace and trying to, integrate and trying to teach and get them to hold themselves accountable, should we integrate or should we just say F them and build our own?
We're not islands. We cannot be self-sufficient and just survive. Nobody lives that way.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. Segregation is never the answer.
Well, when I say not segregation, but should we be more so focused on building our own businesses? Not so much, blocking everybody out, but just more so dedicated to, instead of trying to get into that room with them, let's start our own room.
That's tough.
I mean, it depends on what you want, Like I know there's a trend now for entrepreneurialism, where everybody feels like because you have a job and you sit at a desk and you collect a salary that somehow you sold out and you should be focusing on building your own. I say it's what you want to do. If you're truly passionate about being a small business owner, if you're truly passionate about creating a certain product line, then by all means, please go for it. But I don't think that's the answer necessarily, because we have to live in this society, and unfortunately us as the 12% of this country still has to get by, and our buying power is increasing by the year.
It is.
So I don't think the answer is it's ridiculous, and I don't think, that being said, I don't think the answer is to just like focus on our own and separate. I think the answer is just to find your niche and find what works for you and ensure that you're utilizing your talent properly. And if you have the talent to be an entrepreneur, go for it.
Can I put on my conspiracy hat for 2 seconds before we get to the next topic?
I
I don't
Dave
think
was about to say something on this too.
I don't think we're 12% of the population. I think that number is way higher.
I think it's false number.
Yeah?
I definitely think it's false.
There's no way that we've stayed at a constant 10 to 15% for 50 years.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
I don't believe that.
Well, I think it might come down to the fact that we're scared to check that box. Why are we so scared, guys? Like, I think black people, even on job applications and things like
That is
that,
true.
don't check that box that says, I identify as black/African American. Like, so things
Because
like that skew the
we
numbers.
think that it would be used against us.
Yeah.
Or you're-
unspecified.
they other.
Choose not to identify.
Choose or Pacific
I'm
Islander.
not gonna lie.
Bye.
I'm not
Bye.
gonna lie. Confessional time for me. One time I checked the box as white and I got the job.
You checked the box as white?
I did
White.
it too one time. I did it.
You too?
I did it
Wait,
one
but what's
time.
your
No,
name?
my name is Damon.
And your last name?
It's Brown.
Oh, so you guys can get away with that. I can't
Right.
do
Yeah.
that.
No, it was just an experiment though. Just to see.
Exactly. It was
Y'all
just.
checked the
It
white
was
box?
an experiment.
I
I
look
checked.
at y'all so differently now.
I checked the white box. Work the system.
Y'all hear this on the live
Y'all are
stream?
crazy.
They checked the white box,
It was
y'all.
an experiment. I did it one time as an
I did
That
it.
was crazy.
And it worked.
I
got the job.
Listen, the only way to test that experiment would be to also apply as a black person and see if you get called.
True, true. But the thing is, right, also that's information that can't be disclosed. So the people who are interviewing me don't know what I checked. That's just something that goes into the system. So I just checked it to see if it would impact my interview. But the people who interviewed me don't know what I checked. I'm not encouraged. Don't check that white box. That was just a test that I did years ago. I'm not disclosing when I did it or what company I did it for. Please don't use it against me.
I am. I ain't letting you
I'm
get this
judging
down.
you. No, I'm kidding.
You judge?
I am judging right here, me.
No, I went stealth. I incognito. I just wanted to see what would happen.
I don't want to hear
But
that
actually,
shit. If I could shut your mic off, I would.
oh my
Nope,
god.
these mics are constant. They can't be shut off. They're hot mics.
Wait, Dane, you had something to say about the whole building black businesses and or integrating into, major businesses.
Right. I encourage entrepreneurship. I feel like everyone has something that they're good at. They have niche. I feel like you should be able to take ownership in something that you're good at, because you can't give your son or your daughter a job, like your job at corporate America or wherever
Right.
you work. So it's like you build your business, you can bring your son and daughter along, and then that's how generational wealth starts. So I know I own a business. I want to be able to pass that down to my kids if I have kids someday. So.
And I think that's a great idea. And even if you, even if somebody doesn't want to start a business because maybe that's just too much for them, they can still try to find a small business to work for, a small black-owned business, and it may not be as much as far as income goes, and there may be some downsides to it, but I feel like we need to start supporting each other as much as possible.
It's a brick by brick type of philosophy.
Yeah.
And open up a bank account with a black-owned bank, please. Thank you.
I need to find one.
Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing
I
about
want
black-owned
to.
banks. They're still members of the FDIC, so your money is still
Yeah, but we're not getting
communed
into
with the Federal Reserve, and that kind of
technicalities.
defeats the purpose, in my opinion.
But
How y'all feel about black-owned banks on the live stream? Like, is
But would
it
you
really
trust a
any
bank that's
difference?
not FDIC insured?
No, and
Exactly.
that's the problem. So, like, what's the point of a black-owned bank if it's still under the FDIC, which is...
I know I wouldn't trust a bank that's not
It's this-
FDIC
it's this-
insured. If it's black-owned, that's all I need to know. I don't need to know
It
the
basically
specifics.
just means that the board is majority black and the employees are majority black.
I'd be okay with that.
I'm totally fine with that. That's
Okay.
just me.
But it's still under the same corporate structure as a quote-unquote white-owned bank.
Carver Bank?
Carver is
I've heard
one.
about. Where are they?
There's one in Harlem. There's one in Queens.
I've never seen one. I feel like I got to do better because I don't know where these black-owned businesses are.
And I mean, that's something we should talk about. Where can people find, these black-owned establishments? There's a directory that hashtag Black Lives Matter put out there. I will find the name in a second. There's
Yeah.
also an app, I believe it's called Trade Circle. So wherever you are in the country, you should be able to kind of find a local black-owned business.
Black-owned business and black-owned bank.
I don't know about the banks.
See, the banking is tough for me.
The good news, sad news, but the good news is in New York, I think Carver is the main one.
But does it matter? Right? And I'm not arguing against black-owned banks, but I think that has no impact.
Well, Missy said that it means that more loans would be available for black companies.
Yeah, because I'll tell you, Carver in particular, I can't speak for everybody, but Carver in particular does donate a certain percentage back to the communities that they serve. So up in Harlem, a lot of these small businesses that have sprung up in Harlem have been funded by Carver Bank, at least in part. And I think that's important.
All right, I'm playing devil's advocate. How is that any different from, say, a Fortune 50 bank like Citibank or something, donating proceeds to African American communities or running their initiatives that they run?
It's
how's
not
that any
different, but the fact is, I don't even know when this was, in the 40s, 50s, 60s. I mean, we had a long history of people literally going into black communities and physically burning down these black-owned establishments, primarily banks, because they did not want black people to have access to these institutions and access into capital. So at the end of the day, I'm not looking at what's different and what's better and what's the perfect structure. I know that there are only a few left, and those few need to be upheld no differently than anybody else, no differently than Chase, than Bank of America, anything else. So I'm just saying that one exists in New York. There are a few others throughout the country, and that number's decreased about 80% since the civil rights era. And I think that's something that we need to pay attention to. If that's one thing we can do by opening up an account, do it.
Black-owned banks can't compete with. We got our IT guy here. Can't compete with from a technology standpoint. Online banking and
But that's
things
why,
like
because they
that.
don't have enough money to go around.
You
need to open up an account.
More accounts, yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're making me feel like I should go and do it.
You should. I took a little field trip, you know, and I had a bunch of my friends open up an account at
a side
Harvard.
account, right?
Right, you don't have to put all your money into it.
just something.
Transfer your money over.
It's just something, tiny little steps, you know.
That's everything, Dad.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we missed a couple of things.
What do you think we missed?
I mean,
Shit, I mean, honestly, we could talk about this all week. Not even all day. We could have a 96-hour conversation on this.
I mean, what do people want to know? What are y'all questions? Anybody's trying to get into corporate America, having a hard time in corporate America,
point.
like throw out
Good
your
question. Good question.
Imhotep is talking about One United. It has online banking and it's black owned.
Thank you to all the people who
that's news to me.
Thank you to all of the people who came onto the second live stream. We apologize for the difficulties, but you know, sometimes those things happen when you're an independent black. You know, we go through growing pains, you know, but we in this together.
I'm gonna look into One United.
We got some time. So, to get into corporate America, if you want to get into corporate America, obviously it takes education, obviously it takes studying, but it also takes determination and focus, and above all, confidence. You have to believe in yourself that you can thrive in an environment where you may not see anyone who looks like you or can relate to you. You have to have a bigger goal and a bigger purpose for your career to make it in that industry, right? Outside of entertainment or sports or things like that, to be in corporations where it's majority white people, white men, you have to have a different mindset. You got to change your way of thinking. You have to stop thinking that you're disenfranchised. A lot of what we feel, and it goes on to the chip on my shoulder that I said I had, is self-imposed. Right? We have these self-imposed barriers on ourselves.
I don't think it's all self-imposed.
A lot of it is though.
You have to be twice as good.
I mean, you do, but that's what we do. That's the beauty of being black. Like, I don't know, I don't mean to sound arrogant, but that is the beauty of being black. We actually are very good at anything we put our mind to.
We don't stop fighting.
But then that's a gift and it's a curse.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you bust your ass in school, you fill out all these online applications to get an interview, you finally get the interview, you finally get the job, and then a couple weeks in, you meet somebody who doesn't know shit.
It's gonna happen regardless.
But I don't feel like that's a knock on you.
No, it's not.
But here's the thing.
It's frustrating.
I never meet black people, or generally minorities, I never meet people of color who don't know shit.
Right, because you can't not know, you know?
Exactly, and that's what frustrates me because I know that we have to know so much to get in, we have to know so much to stay in, and then you meet one of them who's just there and they don't know shit.
So would you rather know less?
It's like, I want to be able to, I want us to all know the same amount.
It's not going to work. It's not going to happen.
Who's going to get ahead then if we all know the same amount?
It's not going to ever
Would you rather
happen.
Because that's how you become CEO.
Meaning, I had to know A, B, C, D. You had to know A, B, C, D. We do the same job. But it's not, it doesn't work like that. I know A, B, C, D, and he only knows A and half of B.
But then it's also, it's relationships also.
Network.
It's networking. Yeah. A lot of it is who you know also. So I'm hoping that I can be the first generation of millennial mentors in the industry. I'm at that point in my career to where I'm able to bring people into a company. I'm able to show them the ropes. I'm able to manage them. I'm able to lead them. And it's just going to start with people like me.
I agree.
Nicola just said, how do you thrive in corporate America without conforming to white norms?
Shit, that's tough.
That's a good question. Yeah, it's a good question.
Nicola.
But I think that's a very good question. But I think how would you define white norms? Because there are no black norms. You know, like we black people come from all over the world. We come from all kind of socioeconomic statuses, and we have different religions. There are many different norms. So, like, do you want to specify a little bit? You know, like what you mean?
Yeah, Nicola, tell us what you mean by white norms, especially in corporate America. And again, when I say corporate America, I mean any job, because anywhere you work, it's a corporation.
Mm-hmm.
So
I feel like you just have to be the best at what you do. Just
I-
like whatever it is you do. Like for me,
Yeah.
I'm a developer. I have to know something about everything.
Mhm.
Like I have to know the application from front to back. You know, I have to be that person that you can be looked upon and called upon, you know, as a point of reference. And that's how you excel.
That's what it comes down to. You have to know your shit.
yeah, you
Just
can't.
be
You have
resourceful.
to.
Yeah.
Like you said, that person may know A, but
Mm-hmm.
you have to know A, B, C, and D.
Mm-hmm.
You have to.
That's that. I don't know. Maybe y'all just better than me, because that frustrates me.
It's very frustrating, but this is the dynamic. You have a system that was set up for especially white men to succeed. It was literally designed that way.
for them.
So
Literally.
I'm not in the business of competing. What I am in the business of is paving my own way and ensuring that path stays smooth for somebody else to go through. We're never,
Exactly.
ever going to be competing on the same level. It's
Exactly.
it's you climbing, walking through a straight path, and me climbing over a mountain to then get on the straight path. That's the difference.
It's a little bit easier for us than the generation prior to us,
Yeah.
and it'll be a little bit easier for the generation after us. We just have to make sure we pave the way.
I mean,
Dope.
It is dope, but the topic, yes, it's inspiring, yes, it's moving, yes, it's very interesting, but I get mad.
Yeah, we all do. That's why we have each
Don't
other.
get mad. Yeah.
Dave never gets mad. Like, he's just never
can't
mad.
get mad.
He's never been mad since I've known him.
It's you're a part of the process, and it's as simple as that.
Allocate your energy according to
Right,
where it's
yeah,
actually
you
going to
just
make a
Yeah,
difference.
you're just a
You
part
being
of the
worked
process.
up and
Channel
angry
your
is not
aggression
going
to
to make a
something
difference.
else, right?
Yeah.
I think we're out of time, Dev.
This was good. I appreciate y'all for coming in. Forgive me if I sound a little angry. I'm just mad as hell.
Thank you for
You
having
got
me.
one more?
And I'm tired. Like, tired of everything we talked about.
Well, we need you to
we got a
be
segment that you
energetic.
close out
So
with. You forgetting about your
No,
segment?
I didn't forget. So with that being said, what did we learn today?
Yo, I like the way you say that.
I always close the show with
Oh.
that. What did we learn today?
what did we learn today? We all have individual responsibility. I think I
Mm.
relearned that today.
Be the best.
Be the best.
Be the best.
And chill, man. Like, just chill. Like,
Chill.
not everything is not that bad. You don't have to walk around with, the world on your shoulders. We have enough to deal with.
Mhm.
Once you leave that office, and once you get inside, just do what you can with what you have. Where you are.
I learned that I need to be myself. I can't necessarily conform to stereotypes. I can't be hard on myself. I can't be oversensitive. Is that the right way? Am I saying that the right way? I just need to be focused on what my goal is. I need to make sure that I have a goal and work towards that goal.
Absolutely.
And I'm in the room with 4 people who are doing that same thing, so that's encouraging.
Yeah, it makes me feel good that you guys are here to reassure me that I'm not crazy.
No, you're not
It's
crazy.
definitely not crazy.
For feeling
You're
like
not
crazy, but
We out here.
I learned, like Dame just said, do your best, work hard, stay true to yourself, but also carry yourself well, and support your own, because that's the only way we're going to get up there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way we're going to be looking them in their eyes in the room and saying, no, this is a bad idea. I don't want to see this. I don't want to hear this. That's the only way, is if we support each other. So that's what I learned today.
What you learned, Dame?
Be the best.
Right?
Just be the best. Grind. Don't stop until
Grind.
you reach all your goals. Set some goals for yourself. Crush them.
Yeah.
Set some more.
Don't accept less than what you feel you're worth as
Never.
well. We don't talk about salary, but when it comes to salary, when you go into those negotiations for salary, say what you want.
Mhm.
Don't say what you think they will give you.
Don't let them.
If you say something that's over, let's say, market value, or if you request something that you think they'll say no to, the worst they'll say is no.
Mm-hmm.
They won't. Asking for a certain dollar amount won't discredit you.
I kind of have a slightly different perspective on that. So
Really.
I always say shoot for a number kind of a lot higher, or like 25% more than you actually want. Because then if it comes back, you actually may get the number you want, or you may still get 10% higher or 15% higher than you really want. So just shoot. And like you said, if they say no, it's no.
Yeah.
If you win, then you win.
Never be afraid to ask for what you feel you deserve. Study the market, see what similar positions are paying, and ask for what you deserve.
And don't be afraid to highlight your accomplishments once you're at that job. I've been in a lot of situations where you get your ideas stolen. You're sitting in a room full of men, and they decide to repeat the exact same thing you just said. There's a lot of instances of that, and I think Black people, especially Black women, don't do a very good job of highlighting their accomplishments. Do not be afraid to say, I have this credential, I did this project, this occurred, this was the outcome, and kind of measuring or at least creating your value accordingly.
Look people in the eyes.
Yep. Firm handshakes all the time.
Firm handshakes.
Like, I dare you.
Speak with confidence. Project your voice. Project your voice like this when you're in a meeting and when you're talking to people. Do not talk like this. Do not be calm.
Don't be docile.
No. Speak up.
We got time for another live stream comment. Janessa just made an interesting one. Says she works in corporate America, and she finds that her own people are competing with her instead of helping and lifting each other up.
That's a problem.
How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that? Your own people against you for the white man. So basically, she feels like her own people are putting her down so that they can get noticed by them.
I've been in a situation.
We have to get out of that competitive mindset.
I've been in a situation like that, and I took the high road, and basically, I don't want to say that I created an us versus them type of mentality, but I created a situation where I let them know that I'm not competing with them.
Yeah.
So even if they want that position, they can get it, but I'm not going to try to take it from you.
Yeah.
It comes down to communication. You got to open those lines of communication if you feel you can. If somebody's competing with you.
If somebody feels like there's camaraderie, and I feel like I can go to my colleague, people are less inclined to compete in that sense. So you have to foster the environment. Don't wait for somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
You do it. I think that mentality came from a time which still exists where they feel like there can only be one. There can only be one of us. Which one is it going to be? And that creates a dynamic of competition, and it doesn't have to be that way. But I would also say not to take it personally.
Yeah,
that's important too.
Like a lot of people just aren't there yet mentally.
Yeah.
I wasn't always there yet, but now that I am there, I'm not competing with nobody. Like I'm trying to support and uplift everybody. I want us all to get there. There's so much money to be made. We can all get there.
Yeah, and it's really not a Black thing. It really is.
Everybody.
Yeah, it's just people. It's corporate America. It's it's the whole night. It's the ladder.
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right. The Blueprint Live on iTunes.
Woo!
The Blueprint Live on SoundCloud. Like it, share it, leave a review, tell a friend about it.
Tell a friend to tell a friend. You have to like the Facebook page. We need those likes up. So we get the views, but the likes really matter. The likes it'll come up on your feed, so we don't have to do all of the sharing. So hit the like button on the Facebook page.
Yep.
And hit subscribe in iTunes. That'd be dope.
Thank you so much, guys. This was great.
Very fun. This is everything I thought it would be. Thank you to Tamika and Damon.
Thank you,
Thank you, guys.
Right?
You guys did great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, that's our time.
All right. See y'all next week. Bye.